It was a brutal campaign, but at least the candidates seemed to be having a good time.
We can't keep voting for the same two parties and expecting a different result.
Unfortunately, that was the only swing he got. Liberal MP Dan Tehan also had to go on the play equipment. While other candidates were working from home. Tanya Plibersek made massive cuts, Kate Chaney ran a clean campaign, and Adam Bandt braided hair. I think that's Abby Chatfield's hair. But these aren't signs of domestic bliss, they're attack ads.
There's something really weird that's been going on this election. See if you can spot it. Watch these clips and look closely. Does anything stand out to you? Where are the women?
Oh, my main observation was Peter Dutton talks too fast. But where are the women? Todd? No. No, I'm going to ask Hannah. Is this the new frontier for attack ads?
I think it's kind of an embarrassing and gendered attempt from the Labor Party mainly. I think the Greens, of course, had to throw in some sort of performance of that sort of domestic labour from Adam Bandt. But my concern here is, in the attempt to humanise the women of the Labor Party, what we're just pushing is this narrative that it's women in the home who have to manage it all, even though these are successful politicians with huge power in this country. You're not going to see Jim Chalmers attempting a new nagi recipe in the air fryer. That's not happening.
Christopher Pyne, do you think a man would ever do anything like that? Oh, actually, I've got a bit of tape. Can we have a look?
When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's the best.
I may have had a couple of sherbets on the plane before I did that, but I was ironing in my little Canberra flat, minding my own business, singing songs as you do when you're ironing your clothes. Sure, Claire O'Neill does the same thing.
Yes.
I don't know what she sings, though. Probably Highway to Hell or something.
But the ad is making a good point, though, Will, isn't it? I mean, the ad's genuinely making a point that where are the women? And this is a genuine issue. So let's say ALP's, it's actually, I think, slightly more than 50% in Parliament this time round, and the Libs is hanging at 20%. So clearly that is a problem.
But aren't these ads part of the problem? Because, I understand wanting to be relatable, but if you're going to show a powerful woman, a minister, doing housework as a way of kind of mirroring or representing that relatability, I'm not certain it breaks gender stereotypes as much as it reinforces them.
Correct.
And so I don't, she got a degree from Harvard. Why don't we talk about that? Why can't we celebrate and potentially attract women into politics without going back to 1950s gender norms and stereotypes? It's got to be
What about
possible.
we split the difference and she's ironing her Harvard degree?
I can understand why they want to do that, but can they really, when they're wearing Prada, when they're the biggest property owners in the country by percentage of population? And I think rather than trying to be relatable, what they need to be is authentic. And there was a great example that we saw of genuine warmth, authenticity, human interaction when Katie Gallagher and Penny Wong did this lovely little interaction about who's the best finance minister, given that they both have been finance minister and these really powerful, successful women. But you got that human interaction, and I think people connect with that authenticity rather than trying to relate to someone whose life is completely separated from the challenge that most Australians face every day.
Across the campaign, Labor did their best to make Dutton unpalatable, assisted in no small part by his own face.
Vote Conroy, get Dutton.
Oh, he looks good. My favourite was this one.
Vote Katie, get Dutton.
But you can do that with anyone, even these two. Leaders hate to be called soft, but Albo cuddled up to the image. Hey, careful, he has chlamydia. And Albo broke out the pink tie to say this.
Kindness is a strength. Compassion is a strength. It's a strength of our country. I don't shy away from the fact that I care about vulnerable people.
Oh, what a wuss. Despite the apparent softness, there was something in Albo's pants that he couldn't wait to whip out in public. He even pulled it out on election night and held it very normally. That's how I hold mine as well. Because it actually belongs to Adam Hills. At the start of the year, Albo's campaign was at death's door. Todd, did a Medicare card heal him?
I think the Medicare was, in its own way, a stroke of genius. So it's not that the policy was amazing and revolutionary, but choosing something that sort of symbolized the cost of living crisis and being consistent, not jumping around, being consistent the whole campaign. And the brilliance of Medicare is that we are more, with this sort of loss aversion bias, we're more scared of losing something than we are of getting something new. Because universal healthcare in Australia is part of what it is to be Australian. It's part of the equality. It's part of what it is to be a part of this country. And to threaten that we're going to take that away, for Dutton to fight against that is almost negating him, because he would have to say, he would have to fight against it, he would have to say he's un-Australian, really, at essence, and he couldn't. So he really did well in kind of wedging them with something so simple. And to have the visual card, to have a kind of visual device that you could use throughout, it's a very clever, good marketing.
Do you know what? It's even bigger. It's bigger than just Medicare. Over the last 3+ years, what they've done, what the government's done, is reframe the word economy. So if there's a ladder in your mind, Wil, and if I say if ladder,
okay, good.
If I say cars, there'll be a ladder of brands in your mind. The number 1 brand, the number 2 brand, the number 3 brand. If we call that ladder economy, and then you'll have political brands in your mind, I'm going to suggest to you that the majority of Australians would put Liberal at the top of the ladder if that ladder's called economy. If, however, that ladder now is called care economy or the care economy, all of a sudden you're putting Labor on the top, on the number 1 rung. And they've been talking about the care economy ever since they got into government 3 years ago. In fact, Jim Chalmers wrote a 10,000-word essay in the Monthly that talked about the care economy. And you know what? Over the last 3 years, I've been saying enough already. Please, can you talk about the economy? No, they have been so clever. It's absolutely brilliant to just talk about the care economy, talk about kindness, and then use Medicare as a support to that very proposition. It is, for me, the more I think about it, the more I think, oh my God, that is just so clever. To literally reframe the word economy to care economy and then win off the back of it is what they've done.
And the evil thing about the Medicare scare campaign, that's really evil, is that the coalition couldn't talk about it, or we just raised the salience of the story, which is a shocker. So despite the fact that they were talking about numbers that were just being pulled out of the air or other places, Dutton couldn't respond about Medicare endlessly, or he wouldn't be able to talk about all the other things he needed to talk about. So, in fact, the Labor Party got away with that campaign, and as they did in 2019, as they did in 2016, because it's very hard for the coalition to respond.
Yes.
And people love Medicare because they might fall off Russell's imaginary economy ladder.
John Howard said that he would have abolished Medicare. He won the election, and Abbott became the health minister, and he used to answer questions in question time every day, and his line was, "We are the best friend Medicare's ever had."
Right? Yeah. His other slogan was, "An onion a day keeps the doctor away."
I think also not only is Medicare Australian, but it's a direct comparison to Donald Trump. It positioned Peter Dutton as closely aligned with Trump because one of the direct contrasts from Australia to the US right now is the healthcare costs in the US. And Medicare protectionism is incredibly important for young people, but it resonates with every generation. It supersedes everything. It's a universal healthcare system. You're talking about the NHS, we're talking about Medicare. But I actually think subconsciously it continues to drive that agenda that Peter Dutton represents Trump-style politics.
It is green and gold. It is as nationalistic as you can get when you're talking about Medicare. It is going to come back and haunt Labor, and I think this was one of the pivotal points of the campaign, was during one of the leaders' debates when Peter Dutton did say to an audience member, "Do you need more than your Medicare card to go to the doctor?" Because while in theory Medicare and healthcare is universal, in practice it is not. You cannot find more than 2 out of 82 bulk billing clinics in the ACT.
I didn't even know that Medicare, that you could go to places where you could not have to pay for health services. In my part of the world, there's just no such thing.
Well, I think...
That's probably didn't come out very well.
In my world, the doctor comes to me.
I've never heard of a place place where you got for free in the hell. It was a terrible shock to me.